Good?
Yep.
Okay. Here's another book that I highly recommend. This is a book written by a neurologist. This came out a year or so ago. His name is David Perlmutter. He's out of Naples, Florida. He's a board-certified neurologist. He's also a fellow in the American Academy of Nutrition. He's the only guy in the country that holds both these degrees. So he's kind of a natural thinking neurologist. But his thing is dementia, Alzheimer's, senility, migraines, depression, these mental, these things that affect the mind. He says that today's wheat, today's grain, has 40 times the gluten in it. Now the gluten's the glue that holds the dough together, but what it does is it attacks the hippocampus of the brain. And the hippocampus, folks, is the memory center. So it actually drives that, he says, it drives that process of dementia. And if you, this is another good thing to Google when you get home. Google type 3 diabetes. Now this is all, this is not a documented thing at this point, but there are people out there that are talking about type 3 diabetes being inflammation of the brain, basically. This whole process in the brain. Very interesting. Our time? We're getting there. 5 minutes. Case study. Art. 58 years old. 5'10", 210 pounds. He had chronic neck, back pain, very rough bilateral knee pain. He was a haphazard eater. He was a Coke drinker. He felt that his diet really didn't matter very much as long as he worked out enough. Anybody ever think that before or was told that? Folks, it's 80% kitchen, 20% gym for most of us, okay? And you're never going to make up in the gym what you're messing up in the kitchen. He ran for years, then he switched to biking because of his knees, and he was biking 100 miles a week. And this guy really worked out. He ibuprofen every day for years till his stomach could no longer take it. This is a picture of Art, 5'10", 210 pounds. He described himself as being in decent athletic shape. But he had all this pain. He had knee pain. He had, you know, the orthopods were saying not long down the road you're going to need a knee replacement. 1 year later, actually, we have a purification program that we put people on. It's a 3-week program. And it basically, the quick 3,000-foot flyby on it is it steers people into this style of eating, and it teaches them, the experience is kind of the teacher, it teaches them what to try to stay with and what to try to stay away from. But Art lost 20 pounds on his 21-day purification program. And in 8 months' time, he dropped a total of 45 pounds. He had a whole lot less joint pain, really, within about 2 weeks out of the gate, because those inflammatory cytokines, those little Pac-Men, were quieting down. Whole lot less joint pain. It was really surprised me. He was able to return to running regularly. He now focuses on low glycemic foods. He thrives on clean proteins, unlimited low-starch vegetables, some fruit, little starch, some seeds and nuts, no sugar. He doesn't eat wheat. He did a wheatectomy. Got the wheat right out. That is, by the way, that's Dr. Davis's term. And the cardiologist that wrote Wheat Belly puts his patients on a wheatectomy, takes them right off of the wheat. And by the way, as long as you don't replace it with Mountain Dew and Skittles, you will not have any sort of dietary imbalance without the grain. Much to the chagrin of the Grain Food Foundation, which would like you to, you know, they've kind of ingrained us in this healthy whole grain thinking. Which, pardon me?
And high fiber.
Yeah, and high fiber, exactly. Yeah. Fiber, your vegetables, there's a lot more bang for the buck nutritionally than there is with the grain. So, but that's the message that they're giving us. You can get your fiber from the vegetables. But this is Art today. This was, and I've got a side-by-side I'm going to show you in a minute. But this is actually the what happens is, here's the knee, right? A schematic of the knee. We've got cartilage. We've got the medial and lateral meniscus of the knee. We've got ligaments that support that knee. And synovium is kind of like the oil for the joint, right? T cells, if the knee is inflamed, be it from injury or be it dietary-driven inflammation, what happens is the body releases T cells. It's going in to repair. And this little Pac-Man goes in and starts to kind of clean things up. Well, in a sprained knee, that's a good thing. But in diet-driven inflammation that doesn't stop, that's day in and day out because we're drinking Coke all day long, that accelerates the degenerative change, and that's what was happening to Art. Is it Joanne?
Yeah.
See you, Joanne. Take care. Nice to meet you. So here's Art before and here's Art after. Take care. Thanks so much. Nice to meet you. Thanks. No problem. Enjoy that show. She's going to a musical, I think, tonight, right? Grandchild? Enjoy it. Have fun. So this is Art. He actually went back to running 5Ks and 10Ks. Now he's done the Marine Marathon, and he's done about 5 marathons. He's 62 years old now. And, you know, I mean, it's an amazing thing. Now, as we wrap this up, I want to point out Jonathan Baylor is the guy I borrowed the same example from. I loved it, and I thought it was great, and it's his material, okay? So I always like to give him credit. He's a health and fitness researcher. If you go to slimissimple.org, you can look him up. He's got a great video on there. You can check it out. Now, here's the other thing that I want to read as we finish up. Has anybody ever heard The Carpenter? This is great. This is a story that I finish up my talks with. When I'm out and I'm doing corporate talks and whatnot, because it's really very telling. And I'm just going to read it to you guys. The carpenter, an elderly carpenter, was ready to retire. He told his employer of his plans to leave the house building business and live a more leisurely life with his wife, enjoying his grandchildren and his extended family. He'd missed the paycheck, but he knew it was his time. They could get by. The contractor was sorry to see his best worker go, and he asked if he'd build just one more house as a personal favor. The carpenter agreed, but in time, it was easy to see that his heart was just not in the work. He resorted to shoddy workmanship. He used inferior materials. It was an unfortunate way to end a dedicated career. When the carpenter finished his work, the employer came to inspect the house. He then handed the front door key to the carpenter. This is your house. It's my gift to you. The carpenter was in complete shock. Why didn't his boss tell him? If he'd only known he was building his own house, he'd done it all so differently. And so it is with us. We build our lives one day at a time, often putting less than our best into the structure. Then in shock, we realize that we have to live in the house that we built. If we could only do it all over, we'd do it so much differently. If I could do it over, I wouldn't have had that accident. You know? The flip side of that is that I'm who I am today because of that accident. You know, that's God for you, right? But we can't go back. You're the carpenter. Each day you hammer a nail, you place a board, you erect a wall. Life's a do-it-yourself project. Your attitude and the choices you make today build the house you live in tomorrow. Build wisely. Oh, we love boxers. We have a boxer, Ellie, at home. She wanted to come. And this is my contact information. So if we can help you in any way, feel free. There's our office number. I've got a Twitter account. I don't really do a whole lot of tweeting yet. Maybe one day. But I do a lot on Facebook. Westside Wellness LLC. I do a lot on Facebook. So you can catch us there. There's my email address too. So I hope that has been of help to you. I hope the science can be of help in some way. Ellen, I so appreciate the invite tonight. You guys are awesome. This is a great work that you're doing, all of you. And I just applaud you for what you're doing. Thank you.
And that's